Hello, and welcome to this overview of new releases that I read that were published in May of 2025. I'm Olivia, your favorite resource for book recommendations you can easily screenshot, and you're watching Random Olive Reads. Dream On, Ramona Riley by Ashley Herring Blake is a contemporary romance and a book one of the Clover Lake series. Ramona is a small town diner waitress with long buried dreams of being a costume designer. She basically had to quit college and come back home when her single father is injured so that she could take care of her younger sister. Her sister is going off to college, and Ramona's meddling best friend is encouraging her to branch out. Lucky for them all, a rom com is being filmed in their small town that summer, and Ramona has her big chance. One of the movie stars, Dylan, has her own issues with breaking out of her tabloid gossip cycle and finds a lot of comfort in hanging out with Ramona. Things get all sorts of messy with Dylan being the subject of internet fame and gossip, and Ramona getting caught up in the whirlwind. The romance here is sweet and genuine, in addition to being scorching hot. I enjoyed seeing what wacky thing would happen next, and I loved the whole cast of supporting small town characters. Until the Rake Surrenders is a historical romance and book five of the Rogue Rules series. This one's a fairly straightforward friends to lover stories with a little smidge of danger and drama. Lady Minerva is at a house party. She knows that the hostess has been tasked with matchmaking since her mother cannot be there. But luckily or unluckily, her brother's friend Evan is injured after performing some tricks on his horse. And then Min plays the sister friend card to go spend time with him while he's recuperating. And while they're together, they actually become friendlier and closer together. Fast forward a few weeks, and they're both in Bath for a mini social season, and Min's mother is encouraging her to find a titled lord to marry. But she's too busy thinking of Evan, even though her mother does not approve. We get some family drama revealed related to Min's parents, plus, Evan is dealing with a separate scandal of his own. It was really fun to read these two interact with each other and how easy their relationship developed out of their friendship. This one was a solid read. The Lady Makes Her Mark by Susanna Craig is a historical romance and book three of the Goods Guide to Misconduct series. Constantia is a anonymous satirical cartoonist at a ladies magazine and is always fearful of being followed or her identity found out or whatever. Anyway, when all the writers at the magazine receive some suspicious letters, she goes on the run only to be hit by a carriage in the street and knocked unconscious. Luckily, Alistair, the Earl of Ryland, is there to save the day, even though he doesn't quite know what to do with her. When she wakes up, she pretends not to know him, even though he knows she's at least the cartoonist at the magazine, and he promises to take care of her until she gets her memory back. They have a bit of a contentious relationship since he's often the subject of her unkind cartoons, but Alistair is really the sweetest guy and mostly worried about taking care of his seven sisters. It is chaos and calamity and a really great story. Left of Forever by Tara DeWitt is a contemporary romance, and you just need to be mentally prepared for all sorts of emotional turmoil. Ren and Ellis became parents at age 17 and 18, got married young, and then got divorced. Now their son is off to college, and Ellis is suggesting a victory road trip, just the two of them. He clearly has motives to get her back. And it's nice to see that he's actually upfront and honest with her about the reason for this trip. This book is emotionally heavy as they deal with all the things they bottled up all those years ago and try to learn to communicate in the present. I loved seeing these two work out their issues and actually talk to each other about their worries and dreams. There's also a really good mix of humor and spice throughout the book. This might be my favorite Tara DeWitt. Kiss Me Maybe by Gabriela Gamez is a contemporary romance and book two of the Librarians in Love series. Angela is embroiled in TikTok virality and also admits to having never been kissed or in any sort of relationship. There's a whole lot of self doubt and self discovery baked into this story as Angela navigates her desire to connect with others while also trying not to fall in love with her crush, Crystal. Angela decides on some sort of scavenger hunt for the ladies of the internet to give her her first kiss, and she recruits Crystal to assist, even though there's clearly simmering feelings between them. We get some messy drama in the form of Angela's bullying cousins and Crystal's romantic backstory. I loved reading these two crushes become friends and then more. Problematic Summer Romance by Allie Hazelwood is a contemporary romance, and it's a follow up to her other book, Not in Love. I love this book. There is so much humor and steam, and this might be my favorite Allie Hazelwood book yet. We've got a destination wedding in Italy, and the groom's younger sister, Maya, is pining over her brother's best friend, Connor. But it's not your typical age gap, unrequited crush. We find out through a series of flashback chapters that they've been secretly friends for years and been talking to each other almost daily. The feelings are clearly there on both sides, but Connor is ever cognizant of his age and financial status and pretty much thinks that Maya should do better. So he breaks off the friendship, and we're left with a rift between these two at the time of the wedding. We get a mix of the chapters from the past with present day awkwardness, and this book kept me completely hooked to find out how it all resolved. Excellent cast of side characters, and super sweet to see everyone interacting in this dreamy Italian villa. Manic Pixie Dream Earl by Jenny Holiday is a historical romance and book two of the Earl's Trip series. The chaos continues with this year's Earl's Trip. Best guy friends Effie, Simon, and Archie are on their way to the annual holiday, and Effie is all sorts of like self flagellating because he'll be gone for 2 weeks and might miss his letters from his pen pal slash magazine editor, Juliana. Meanwhile, she's at a loss for work with a printing delay and decides she'll crash her pen pal friend Effie's vacation. Except she thinks that Effie is a woman and not a viscount and heir to an earl that he really is. They do actually finally meet in this seaside town of Brighton, and they get along as fabulously in person as they do in writing. But see, Juliana is the closed off, no nonsense person in the relationship, and it sets up our soft hearted Effie for heartbreak. I really enjoyed seeing the demisexual representation from Effie, the strong support from his friends, and the bisexual representation from Juliana. As chaotic as Effie seemed to be with his interests, the emotional depth here will make you feel all the feels. Love in Focus by Lila Lee is a contemporary romance novel. I absolutely love this second chance romance between a recently dumped magazine writer and her ex roommate girlfriend photographer who disappeared on her 8 years ago. The tension between Gemma and Celeste was so good, and I loved seeing them interact and talk through what happened all those years ago. Gemma's besties are absolutely amazing in the face of Gemma's recent breakup with longtime partner and fiance, and a new work project brings Gemma and Celeste together. It built up so much opportunity for communication. I like the structure of the story being mostly from Gemma's point of view with bits of Celeste's point of view sprinkled in. Definitely spicy throughout, but with so much emotional work as well. I love this book. When the Marquess Needed Me by Lydia Lloyd is a historical romance and book four of the Rake Chronicle series. Leith is pretty much the most uptight and repressed sort of fellow I've ever read, and beds all his mistresses completely clothed and in a perfunctory nature. It all changes with Beatrice, though, who demands to be bedded with more skill and variety as she learns to be a courtesan. Of course, everyone gets their feelings involved, and both of these people need to let go of their separate hangups. It was really nice to see them communicate pretty well and let down all their walls. Loads of spice, flirting, banter, and a whole lot of teary eyed emotional support. Rules for Ruin by Mimi Matthews is a historical romance and book one of the Crinoline Academy series. Effie is back in England after a stint in France and bartering with her old headmistress for freedom. She is being sent into society to find some dirt to bring down a viscount and crosses paths with betting house owner Gabriel along the way. He's actually the one holding dirt over the same Viscount, but he's not trying to bring him down. He's only blackmailing the guy for political favor instead. Even though Effie and Gabriel are similar in background and nature, their aims conflict. It's a complicated story here with lots of twists and turns and emotional moments for all. I loved the introduction to this world and can't wait to learn more. A Touch of Steel by Kathy Maxwell is a historical romance and book three of the Gambler's Daughter series. We have a fun mystery adventure plot here. Beckett Steele is seeking answers about the dreams he's been having about someone who he thinks is his mother, and he decides to infiltrate a country house party of the father that he's never met. Beckett enlists Gwendolyn's help to go to the party and provide a card playing distraction, but when they get there, nothing is quite what it seems. We get some early hints throughout the book about Beckett's identity and danger lurking behind every corner. I loved how easy the romance part was, so that these two could quickly team up around against the dangers that surround them. An Unladylike Secret by Amanda Murray is book three of the Marley sister story. There is loads of action and mystery in this one. Mira is a secret gossip columnist who may have contributed to a man being accused of murdering his own brother. She's at the Devonshire coast with her roommate and friend to find out more about this situation from the deceased man's widow. And of course, she crosses paths with our dear fugitive Finn and maybe kind of sort of falls in love with him, but they've got a mystery to solve and an innocence to prove, all while Finn does not know that Mira is the writer behind his downfall. I loved all of the tangled webs of plot in this book. Crossing Paths by Katie Ruggles is a romantic suspense in book two of the Beneath the Wild Sky series. This is absolute chaos in all the best ways. Nora and her sisters are bounty hunters, but Nora is usually a behind the scenes gal doing research from behind her computer screen. Until one of their targets hacks into her computer and sends her creepy chat box messages. Along with that, she's also taking self defense lessons from Dash, the local ex MMA fighter and gym owner. The romance here is super cute, and Dash is the ultimate gruff and protective sort. But the real drama revolves around Nora's digital stalker, plus some other close calls with danger. I mean, we go from drinks on the couch at Dash's apartment to fire bombs being thrown in the window real fast. It's the kind of crazy danger that just makes the book more funny than fearsome. This is definitely a fun ride. What Happens in Amsterdam by Rachel Lynn Solomon is a contemporary romance. Danny's life has kind of imploded after a breakup and getting fired from her job, so she's off on a new adventure and new job in Amsterdam. Except her apartment sucks, her job is totally sketchy, and then she crashes her bike into her old flame. Walter was an exchange student living in her house, and they had a secret relationship until he went back home and broke her heart over text. Now they've run into each other, and Wouter ends up bailing Danny out from her apartment woes and eventually her visa related woes. We get an awkward marriage of convenience plot here, and you can feel the tension between these two in every interaction. It's emotional and steamy and loads of banter, and I really enjoyed reading this book. Always a bonus when the first love learns some bedroom moves and dirty talk while they've been apart for 13 years. Not Safe for Work by Nisha J. Tully is a contemporary romance. This is super steamy flirting and banter between two workplace rivals that are stuck together on a training retreat. Tris is your typical woman of color in a white male dominated workforce, overlooked for promotions and losing out on leadership positions to the boss's son, Rafe. She's totally surprised when she's selected to go on a training retreat in Maui, but irritated that she's stuck traveling with her rival. Being forced to share a room might actually force them to call a truce, though, and we get all sorts of angry flirting along the way. Once we get away from the taunting each other and get to the actual relationship building, I love this book and loved how sweet Rafe actually was, and not the dude bro persona he gives off. Thank you so much for watching this video. There were so many great books this month. Hopefully you found a book or two to add to your TBR. Links to all of these books are in the description box. Like and subscribe to get updates, and you can follow me on Instagram at randomolive.